I was in a fight at work. Am I able to get workers' compensation? Hey, folks, my name is Jim Aspel. I'm a board certified workers' compensation lawyer in Farmington, Connecticut. Fights at work are one of the sadder cases that we get here in the office, and in the post COVID world, they seem to happen on a more frequent basis for any number of reasons. People seem to get in fights or get assaulted while on the workplace. And whether or not that's compensable is really going to be a very fact driven type of thing. Now, if you're at work and you're going about your ordinary workday and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and for whatever reason, be it a coworker or a customer or a member of the public, comes up to you, punches you, or in some other way assaults you, and you sustain injuries, then in 99 cases out of 100, that's going to be found compensable. You were doing what you were supposed to be doing, and you were in no way involved in instigating the altercation. So in that case, the general answer is yes, that's going to be compensable. Now, if you get into a fight with your coworker, the situation becomes more complicated. And we see all sorts of fights between coworkers. I've seen a whole bunch of different things through the years. Um, People get into fights over girlfriends. People get into fights over amorous relationships with coworkers. People get into fights over parking spots. People get into fights over all sorts of things that may or may not surprise you. And whether or not that's going to be compensable is a big maybe. If you're fighting over an amorous relationship with a coworker, or you're fighting over you both having romantic intentions over somebody, and you just come to blows, that's not going to be compensable. And the way to look at those things is whether or not the activity that led was something that furthered the business interests of the employer. So if the answer to that question is yes, then by and large, that case is going to be compensable. Um, if you were fighting over the way to do a particular job, that's probably going to be compensable. Again, it's going to be fact driven, and we'd have to look into it, but more likely than not, that's going to be compensable. If you're fighting, again, for some reason completely unrelated to the work activities, more likely than not, that's not going to be compensable. So the important thing to keep in mind on those workplace fight cases, make sure that you have a very crystal clear record of what happened and what it was you were fighting over so that everybody is clear. If the fight involved somebody other than your supervisor, and hopefully it did, hopefully you weren't fighting with your supervisor, then report it to the supervisor, make a written recording of the incident, what happened, who were involved, any witnesses, things like that, just so that it's documented for the workers' compensation carrier, because they're going to do a very thorough investigation in that situation. If there were any witnesses, make sure that you get their name and their contact information. Never ceases to surprise me how many people don't know the names of the people that they're working with, but apparently it's a lot more common than I would have thought. So if a coworker happens to see you being assaulted or getting into a fight with a fellow worker, get their name, get their contact information. It's going to come in handy down the road. If it's the type of situation where criminal charges might be appropriate, if it was an assault situation, then obviously a police report is going to be helpful. If you require medical treatment and if you're bringing a workers' compensation claim, I'm assuming you are going to require medical treatment. Make sure that when you go to the emergency room or the walk-in facility or wherever it is you happen to be going for treatment, you make sure that you're clear to those providers what happened. I was assaulted at work. I got into a fight over my coworker. He didn't like the way I was stacking the boxes, whatever it happens to be. Make sure, and I always say this in any circumstance, make sure that the history that the medical provider gets from you is correct and accurate to the best of your ability. So those are sort of the quick answers to fighting and assaults at work. It's really going to be fact dependent. Again, if it's related to the way the work is performed or something in some way related to the job, chances are it's going to be compensable. If the fight or the assault was related to something extraneous or unrelated to the reason that you went to work that morning, more likely than not, it's not going to be compensable. If you have any questions about that, be sure to talk to an experienced workers' compensation attorney. they can give you their opinion, typically on the phone, let you know whether or not they think it's worth pursuing. Okay. Hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, give us a call. We're in Farmington, Connecticut, 860-523-8783. You can visit our website, www.ctworkinjurylawyer.com. There's all sorts of information there. If you found the video helpful at all, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the thumbs up button. It does help us out. If you like the channel, please feel free to subscribe. We have a number of videos out there on Connecticut workers' compensation topics, and we add to that fairly regularly. Okay. Again, thank you very much and hope you have a good afternoon. Thanks.